Hey, glad you can make it. Welcome to Fantasy Dad Pods, where dad bods are glorified and dad jokes are encouraged. I'm JT, accompanied by Sean. Sean, how we doing?
Doing good. We're doing good. I don't know. A little tangent here before we start. I don't know if you probably do this. I mean, maybe my memory is not so great, so I do this every time. We like to change our windshield wipers. No, we don't like to, but we have to. And On the three cars we got, and every time I was like, "Oh, can you change the windshield wipers?" I'm like, "Sure." I was like, "I've done them before," and then I immediately have. I get out there and I've forgotten everything I've ever done, and it's like a 20-minute process. I'm like, "How do I take the windshield wipers off again?" Because of course, none of the three cars are the same, and none of the
You're
three
right.
brands are the same. So I'm just like, "How did I've done this multiple times for each car?" And then I'm out there like, "I don't know what I'm doing." I get out there and I'm like, "I think I can do this." And then the best part is once I realize what I'm doing, it's super easy. So I'm like, oh yeah, I remember how to do this. And it's like boop, 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 and it snaps and it comes off. And then I'm like, I put them on, and I'm like, 7 months later, I'll forget how to do it, and I'll spend 20 minutes on YouTube again, and then it'll be done in 5 seconds each time again. But
Right.
I waste 20 minutes each time remembering the 5 second thing to reinstall your windshield wipers. So I did that this weekend. I was like, awesome, like super amazing. I stood outside in the garage. I'm like, looking at this, I'm like staring at. I'm like, there's a button here according to YouTube video, and then they're like, no, you just squeeze it, and just pull it off. I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's cool because of course the driver's side and the passenger side are different, and I'm like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we do this to ourselves? Like,
Right.
I don't get it. Why do we like making it difficult? But that's that was my weekend sitting in a cold garage doing that and be like, how do I do this again? And then want go thinking about changing my water softener filter, and then I was like, that's too cold, and I didn't do it. And then
Yeah.
I looked at it, I was like, I'm gonna get a little wet, and it's cold outside. I'm like, nah, well, I'm not feeling that. And then changing, you've been in my house, but we had the vaulted ceilings in the living room, and it went out, and then I have to wait. Wife found on Amazon this like long pole to change lights like 30 feet in the air.
Oh, yeah.
So that's fun while you have a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old who don't understand that glass might fall from the ceiling at any moment, like while I'm trying to take a light out because it grabs the light, but it's not like a suction cup. It's still kind of loosely in there. And I'm like,
Yeah.
there's a light coming down. And they're like, whatever, in wrestling. And I'm like, here we go, ER trip. But we didn't. We didn't. We got the light. We got the light installed. But I'm like, guys, could you just like wrestle somewhere else in this house for 10 minutes? But of course, that doesn't work that way. So
Yeah.
that was fun during the weekend. That was our get together, our little projects this weekend. Oh, and I did take I kidnapped the boys this weekend, and we went Christmas shopping early. We got some of our Christmas shopping done early with no mom, so we were like, mom's not allowed to go. So we did that. We had a good time, and it was really like a ploy so I can get McDonald's. Because at the same time it's Mario Kart Happy Meals at McDonald's.
Whoop, whoop.
So they get McDonald's and they get their Mario Karts because the oldest boy's obsessed with Mario Kart. And so we're like, let's get you
Mm-hmm.
Mario Kart, and dad gets McDonald's. So kind of get, double
You
whammy.
got, you guys got 3 Happy Meals, didn't you?
I'm too fat to eat a Happy Meal. So that wouldn't even be a snack at this point because I still bake in getting 2 6-piece Happy Meals and then eating their leftovers at this point,
Yeah.
plus my meal. So I'm at that point where I'm like, that wouldn't be enough. I'd have to get two for myself, and that still might not be enough because the nuggets would be I'm doing I've done this math. There's 12 nuggets, but the fries are where you lose the value. Like those two little fries are not even equal a medium fry. That's not going to do it for me.
Gotta get
So
the apples. Gotta get the
you I
apples because you still get a fry and you
you
get the
st- yeah,
apples.
exactly. You still get a fry and you get the apples, but I'm just like, man, I
Mm-hmm.
got to get more of those fries. So that's where I get let down with the if I would go a double Happy Meal, but I figure we got some Yoshis. We got two Yoshis, and if I had got another Happy Meal, we just got to get another Yoshi. So we got
Right.
to go back and try to get him his Bowser. Which bummer,
Yeah.
twist my arm. We got to go back to McDonald's again and eat some more McDonald's. But yeah, that was my weekend. How about you?
Oh man. So in response to you changing out the things and forgetting, I do the cabin filter and the air filter, and my even though it's the same brand of vehicle, it's totally different with truck versus SUV. And
Yep.
so I have to like re-watch the 2-minute YouTube video that I've watched a year ago. And
Mhm.
I'm like, which bolt and then which socket size? Because the truck, it's like, it's just tedious. There's all these little steps, but it's really simple. And then with the wife's car, it's fewer steps, but it's more confined. And I literally um always scrape my knuckles like horribly because the last thing I have to just literally like pry the jaws of light, like pop it, and I
Yep.
always nick my knuckle on some weird piece of plastic.
I make the wife do that with
So yeah,
our Nissan Altima. I'm like, "I can't get my hands in there." And she can get her hands in
yeah,
there and, like, push it, and I'm like, I can't
yeah.
reach that. There's no way I'm gonna be able to get my hand in there."
So I know what you're saying. The windshield wipers, usually I think I've had good luck with that, I guess. But yeah, anyway, um, I forgot about the Happy Meal. Oh, I saw it, but then I kind of forgot to take advantage. But my boys would like that too. So next opportunity, we
And
went
you can put them
to.
together too. They're kind of, like, done, but there's, like, a little bit of part you can put together, so it's kind of like a combo of, like, you get a Happy Meal plus, like, "Oh, we could build this too." So that's what he likes.
Okay. We instead Sunday went to Dickies again.
There you go,
Kids eat
there you go.
free. They have the Simpsons game that we've talked about before, and
Yes,
they
yes.
added another free game.
Ooh, and what is it?
It's that it's well, it doubles. You'd look at it and you're like golden tea
T. Oh,
two,
yeah, yeah,
but
with the ball?
then yeah, with the ball. But then so we were playing for free, right? There's
Yeah,
it's free ice cream. The kids ate free. It was a wonderful family experience. We went early because we didn't eat lunch. So we were there like 4:15, 4:30.
there you go. You
No
probably feel
one's
proud.
there.
Yeah,
Everything's just like full, hot, fresh, ready for the Sunday rush. And so by 5:15, we were all done eating, and after we ordered and eat and stuff, and so we were all playing, and so the wife and I played 9 holes, and then the kids were playing The Simpsons, and then at the end of the 9 holes, it was going to keep going to 18. I was like, we've been here long enough, and so I'm backing out, exiting out, and it goes back to the main screen, and there's like 18 different games you can pick. I didn't recognize
oh
all of
my
them,
gosh.
but one was like a bowling one I recognized. It really all had to do with that scrolling ball, and I was like, that's pretty tight that there's like more options for other games that you utilize that thing. So it was kind of cool. But in terms of dadness, I changed out the toilet in our master bathroom,
The
and my
whole
wife,
toilet?
yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
So the wife scolded me for carrying the 75-pound new toilet by myself up the stairs, and then it was probably 60 pounds roughly. It was a little bit lighter down the stairs. So she was like, "Hey, not cool." But I was like, "Hey, surprise. It's been in our garage too long. I didn't get
Yeah,
around to it." So, the luxuries of having both kids in school and I have Fridays off is I get all the honeydew, they're
yeah.
starting to get checked off. So, that was nice. Got the full toilet replaced, and then redoing the dog pen. So I from scratch built um stairs, like freestanding. So
Okay.
I had to like jig and like do the triangle math on like the side of the steps, and like I forget what the
Would you
name of
say you were
it's
thinking
called.
one step ahead?
Like a carpenter. Yes.
Who built
Exactly.
stairs? Yeah,
So it came out pretty nice because I literally just measured my stairs in the house, and I was like, let's make it this size roughly. And then I did the scale down because it only needs to come up to the dog door a little bit. And it all came out. And then I was like, oh, what's the angle? Because I need to start my right angle at whatever angle this is. It was 40 degrees. I was like, that's a nice whole number. I was like, sweet.
there you go.
It worked out. It worked out really well. So there's just one part I needed help with the kids because I was like, I'm going to cut my foot off if I try to cut this backwards left handed towards my shin. So I was like, "Hey, oldest one, come stand on this piece of wood, so I can not have to." Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
totally safe with him standing there. If I had tried to do it myself, I would have probably hurt myself. So anyway, yeah, feeling accomplished uh, after a long weekend. So not feeling accomplished is my fantasy teams. Holy cow! I had tank, injury, central, and wasn't really a weekend I was in. I didn't go out of my way to watch any more football than I usually do. So let's put it that way.
I
How about you? How did you fare for this last fantasy week?
My 2 leagues have the worst wide receivers of AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, CeeDee Lamb, and Chris Olave. So you can imagine how 3 of those 4 didn't finish the week, or even start the week. So
Dang.
it didn't it didn't go great. Not good. And in the other league, I just had to recently drop Stephon Diggs. So my 2 starting wide receivers in all my leagues are just we're not having a good 2 weeks of this right now. But
Mm-hmm.
um, it is what it is. We're making it work. But yeah, it's injuries have been going crazy. Let's see. We could talk about what we've missed since AJ Brown day to day, wrist day to day. I don't know. I don't all these day to days. We record on Mondays after like Monday Night Football, and they don't usually do their injury reports till Tuesday. So we're like one day shy of that. But you said you oh no, I was just trying. I thought you said. Did you say Tank Dell? Did I hear Tank Dell, or am I thinking Tank Dell?
You're just thinking Tank
I'm
Dell.
just thinking Tank Dell. I just see Nico
Yeah.
Collins is still there and is a week to week still, and they're hoping Christian McCaffrey practice window's open, so they have 3 weeks to activate him. So maybe they know they had a bye week, and the rumor kind of was always like after the bye week. So
Yep.
look out for maybe this Sunday. See how that goes. You see, DK Dak Prescott, multiple weeks with a hammy.
Yeah, that's kind of big. Maybe later we talk about, situationally CeeDee Lamb. Is that like a trade candidate in terms of fantasy? In terms
Who
of
got
like
nicked
if
up,
you
and Drake London got nicked up in that game.
yeah,
So
so I'm like if you had a Lamb, would you consider trading him? And depending on the situation on your team, might be something to look
I mean,
into.
problem is, like, what are you going to get for him at this point? If the other guy knows Cooper Rush is going to throw it to him, like you selling low on that
True.
one. Like, yeah, I don't. I agree. Try to do what you can, but it's just it's going to be hard. I'm trying to see here anybody else that got
What
dramatically
is up
injured.
with wrists of wide receivers in Buffalo? Cooper was a late scratch, and then now Coleman has a wrist injury.
There's been a theory. I haven't looked into it too much, but it was proposed a while ago. I wonder what the data says. But a lot of like injuries and things are how quarterbacks throw footballs, and there are actually quarterbacks who throw better footballs, so receivers don't get hurt. I mean,
Hmm.
maybe Josh Allen. We know Josh Allen has a cannon. Maybe like settle down a little bit when they're like 7 yards from you. But yeah, chill out a little bit. I should look into that study again. But I just remember seeing the highlight of it, and it was kind of inconclusive at the time. But I should really look into that.
Well, Michael Thomas thinks that of Derek Carr. I mean, that's pretty much what he's calling out for. Is with the Olave injuries, is like you're not a good quarterback. You're throwing it into,
Danger zone.
yeah. Which I mean, is there something to be said about that?
There are quarterbacks who, if they're not great at it, like yeah, they're gonna put their guys in rough spots. And I mean, he's lucky that they play in today's age. I mean,
Hmm.
if Carr was throwing those balls when his brother played, Olave would be decapitated at the rate he's doing that to him right now. Like, like yeah, it's ridiculous. Some of those
Yeah.
throws, I just don't we start on Carr, but yeah, that's okay. One quick rabbit hole. Legitimately, if the cars flipped, I think David Carr's better than Derek Carr. Who's the one currently playing? Derek.
Derek currently
Yeah, David. I think was better.
David Sachs leader.
Yeah, I just think that like that Houston Texans team was atrocious,
Yeah.
and like he never got a shot. But I think he's given a raw deal. I think he might be better. But spoiler, hot take. Nothing like all world, but like I just was like that man was dealt with
Yeah,
nothing.
I think if you give him the same opportunity, I think David comes out as the better.
Because I remember watching them both in college, and I thought he was so much better than his little brother. I was like, man,
Hmm.
yeah, this is right. That's why high pick, all this other stuff. And then watching one was just set up to fail. What one was set up to fail because he wasn't Peyton Manning. Like, there's like Peyton Manning in that era would have turned a team around, but other than him, what other quarterback would have succeeded in a situation of dumpster fire like that? Like,
Hmm.
and so I'm on that stance. Hot take. I've been sitting on that one for a while. Fired it off. Did you see any other injuries, JT? I didn't see any during the
Um,
week other than
I feel like I'm missing one or
I am
two.
too. That's why I'm like
I am completely blanking.
I have a little list I try to keep tabs on, and I don't see any here, but I feel like I'm missing some. But well, ones that we missed, you're probably yelling at it right now. Just yell at us
Oh,
as
Goddard was one because I saw a Facebook reel and it was like, man, if you started any of these players, you might have scored under 50 this week, and we've already touched on a few, but Goddard was one.
yeah. I only lost
Hamstring.
76 to 122 this week,
There you go.
so I'll have you know that. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
What was it? My team, because I had the an Olave. 75 to 117 loss. So
My in
so
that league, my second best point getter was a snazzy pickup, which we listened to this podcast. We would have told you picked up the Titans D against New England. They got 11 points, and that was only beat by my quarterback, Josh Allen. No one else on my bench included got more than 11 points. No one else got double digits. Let's put it that way. Only one other person cracked 9. So that was how my week went. But yeah, so that was a rough week. But of here's some ways to avoid some rough weeks. Now, of course, I moved away from my and I won't load. Come on. Where's my players? Quarterbacks. Okay, I wanted to ask you about something, JT. I see Mr. Bo Nix is
Hmm.
being picked up a lot, and I want your thoughts on Bo Nix. Yay or nay on Bo Nix?
Oh man, can we just say two QB league? Yay for sure.
So
Which I
he's
think
he's
is
top
saying something.
24-ish for you, roughly.
I would say so. I
Has he
feel
reached the
like
level of bye week filler? Is that okay? Because usually, let's say there's 12 quarterbacks that are starters, and then there's four. Let's say there's three even in a given week that are having to be replaced. So top 15 quarterbacks, top half league. Is that? Would you go that far?
I'd have to kind of reassess, but I'm leaning. Yeah, I think he's right on the fringe there, without like looking and counting. But
Yeah,
that's what my gut's
definitely matchup
thinking.
dependent. Yeah, like or definitely like if he gets a good matchup, you're like absolutely. Yeah,
Oh yeah, because like I don't know, half the games this year, he's rushing for at least 30 some yards, and he's got 4 rushing touchdowns. I mean, if you kind of like say, the first couple games were just a learning curve experience, like he's 4 of his interceptions came in the first 2 games, and ever since those first 2 games, I mean, you're looking at what 8 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, and at least 200 yards passing a game. Which I mean, like it's fine. Like it might be matchup dependent, but guess what? Like the rest of the season, he probably only has like, it's the Chargers. They don't give up a whole lot of points, but like everyone else, he's gonna have to like make something happen to keep up with the team that they're playing against. So
yeah, I
strip
agree.
positive.
I think it's clear. Other than the Seahawks game week 1, it's clear he struggles against the good defenses, which it's fine. He's a rookie quarterback.
Sure. Yeah.
But you made the point of he basically adds at least, I mean, on average now, other than he gets like a 5 rushes for 4 games, but a touchdown. Those random games, 8 rushes, 9 yards, a touchdown. But like minus those games where he gets actual run production, he's basically averaging more than a touchdown in total points from just rushing yards. He's getting you like almost 5 points a game in rushing total. So with minus just on straight yards. So even if he's
Hmm.
not putting up the touchdowns against these bad teams, he's going to get you the rushing yards. Like Baltimore, he had 18 points against Baltimore, and you're looking at like barely 200 yards, no touchdowns, a pick, but he got you a touchdown in rushing yards. So like And a normal quarterback, like that stat line is for Patrick Mahomes. That's 14 points, but just how much he runs is so valuable. Um, I agree. I don't real life and fantasy being separate. Real life, Bo Nix, absolutely not. But in what he brings to the fantasy table, we talked. What was it last time? Of like Mahomes, just get me 20. Get other guys get us 20. He's got in his last three of his last 5 games. He's got or 3 of his last 5 games. He got 20 points.
Yeah.
He's almost got 30 in one of them. So I'm like, those are Panthers. To be fair, we're talking about real NFL teams, but yeah, yeah. I get he's got to be picked up. Oh, Mahomes tonight, first 24-point game of the year or 20-point game of the year. There you go.
Heyo. Yeah,
But yeah,
D
I think
Hop really changes things.
yeah, I think for sure you're right. I think he needs to be rostered, and yeah, he's a bye week guy. I think he's top 15 just because that rushing gives him such a nice floor. Like even if he like I said, gets 200 yards and a pick and no touchdowns, he's gonna get you almost 20 just from how much he runs. So
Yeah. Because, I
I think
mean,
it's
and
really
especially
nice.
week 10, if we're looking at week 10, Jordan Love on the bye, Prescott is out, and then Gino is on the bye.
Mhm.
Um, so, I mean, just like even right there, that feels like pretty much a bye week pickup. And hey, look, he gets to face Kansas City. Week after that, they get Atlanta. So, I mean, it's like they're probably going to be needing to lean on him to come up with something. So,
And I
out of
think
those two games.
I think another one that needs to be considered again is Matthew Stafford. Basically, since his two weapons have been healthy, he's been rocking 23 points a game average. Um, looking at his totals, JT, without an offensive line and without weapons, it's like, oh my gosh! And these guys get back and he's like, wow, okay, I see it now. Like you're like, okay, it
Right.
makes 6 touchdowns and 2 picks in 2 games. You're like, okay, like average almost 288, over 28, almost 300 a game. Three touchdowns. You're like, okay, Matthew Stafford could still sling it. He just couldn't throw it to anybody. And when these guys are even sort of healthy and not punching people in the first half, he's still putting up these points. So I'm like, yeah, I think it's smart to roster Matthew Stafford. I'll talk about it. Bo Nix 58% rostered and Matthew Stafford sub 30. But I think both are definite sleepers coming in to down the stretch because again, he has New England, but he's gonna get Seattle. He's gonna get Arizona. One more time. He does have San Francisco one more time, but I think New Orleans, who just fired their coach, Philly, Miami. These are teams he's going to be able to pick apart, and so I
Hmm.
think Matthew Stafford is not. I say Bo Nix is more because just that rushing floor, but throwing touchdowns, Matthew Stafford's going to eclipse Bo Nix by a lot because he's got Cooper Kupp and Puka. So it's hard to replace those guys and Sean McVay. So uh, he'll manufacture those fantasy points for you. So I think either
Right.
honestly are just as valuable. How they're going to get there is going to be a little different though. But yeah, I like those two guys. Is there anybody else that you like coming up with bye weeks?
For as far as quarterbacks go,
Your boy Justin Herbert,
oh,
43% rostered, starting to look
that's
not so
literally
shabby.
who I've open because I do know that schedule is really nice between now and fantasy playoffs, and so I pulled it up. I mean, Tennessee, and then they gotta try to keep up with scoring against Cincinnati, Baltimore, Atlanta, Kansas City, Tampa Bay. I mean, all those defenses are giving up tons of fantasy points to the quarterback. Um, McConkey's involved. Like I don't know. I feel like Herbert's looking a little bit healthier than he was earlier this year. The bye week off was a nice one, and um, it's an efficient offense, right? It's a really good defense holding teams low in scoring, so they haven't really had to completely rely on him or lean on him, but he'll still, have a low 30s pass attempts, and I mean that'll be productive from a Herbert standpoint. I'm a fan. I pick him up. He's only 44% rostered in Yahoo, so I feel like a bye week against Tennessee. I feel like he might get you a solid number. I don't think they'll need him to go crazy, and they'll probably just run the ball to end the game. But after week 11 through, I just said 15. Like, that's some juicy matchups where he might have to air it out here and there.
I want to give a hot take with him. And if you're in a keeper league or a dynasty league or whatever it is, I would trade for Justin Herbert. I
Ooh.
think this O line is fine finally now. Gets healthy. They just need to draft him and sign a weapon, one of each. Like it doesn't like what it's like a free agent's kind of not necessarily in this specific player, but like a DeAndre Hopkins who's gonna be a free agent, like an aging vet who just knows ball still. You don't need him to be prime DeAndre Hopkins, but you need him to still just be I'm a good above average receiver and do this, and then you draft a kid high with your pick this year and with McConkey, those three options, we're going nuclear at that point because with that team and that guy, sky's the limit. And I feel like right now his stock will be the lowest it's going to be for like 10 years, fantasy wise and talent wise. It's just coming into the season, there was nothing. There was just no options for it. There was nothing, and he was hurt. And it was just like, who's he going to throw the football to? Because it's the same Matthew Stafford thing. It's like someone does have to get open. Like at some point, like I have to throw the ball to somebody. And I think Justin Herbert is like the guy who's like, you need to pick this guy up because like you said, at the end of this year and to be able to keep this guy for next year for super cheap in fantasy, like we have rules of like, oh, you can keep guys in our league if you pick them off waivers. That guy's going to be so valuable coming into next year if they just draft a guy. And again, it's just draft a guy and spend a little money on a receiver, and then that suddenly becomes like a nuclear offense. And because Justin Herbert makes like 5 Superman throws a game, and it's just like I was listening to a podcast they were talking about like quarterback play. They said the best throw that they've seen in like 3 weeks from any quarterback was a throw Justin Herbert made, and it got dropped for a touchdown against the Browns, and it was just like it's just like it was 40 yards on the dot back shoulder, and the guy's like boop, and like just dropped it, and it was just like okay, well. So I'm like, just get some receivers who will catch that ball, and it's like I'm like with you. We're definitely pro Justin Herbert on this podcast. So
yeah, is there like a 2025 draft prospect tight end? Because I think Chargers. I think of LT, and then I also think of just a superior Hall of Fame tight end. I feel like the Chargers need that.
just bring
Gates,
back Antonio Gates.
Is there Gates Jr.? Is he of age yet?
We're running into like Frank Gore Jr., Joey Porter Jr. I mean, like, yeah, there's got to be a junior. I mean, Antonio Gates was never fleet of foot, anyways. It was never like he was burning you. It was just like Philip Rivers threw into a tight window, and Antonio Gates just like Kirby'd it, and it just like never. Once it touched him, he's like, I got it. I catch this, and you're just like, run Antonio Gates out there. He'll still catch the freaking ball. I guarantee it. He will get 0 yards of separation. The analytics will hate him. And then they'll look up and be like 88 catches for 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns, and you're like, how he averaged negative separation yards? And you're like, it's Antonio Gates. He catches literally everything. Like
yards after catch 2 average because he is 2 yards tall and he just falls forward.
Yeah, he falls forward, but he every play is a first down because he throws it to on third down. Philip Rivers like, I need a first down. Just chuck it at the body of Antonio Gates, and he's like, I'll get it. Don't worry about it. I got this. I know how to box.
Post up.
The ultimate, I know how to use my body. Like, no one's going to know how to use my body better than me. College basketball player. Suck it up. I'm like, that guy can still play. Call him back, Chargers. He can do it.
Pick him up.
Picking him up. Dropping guys. Quarterbacks. I'm looking for people who are rostered decently. I'm still not on the Aaron Rodgers train. Let's get off. 52% rostered is far too high. I would rather take any of the guys we discussed than Aaron Rodgers. Is that how you feel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't have to go too far into that one. Oh my gosh, is that true? Drake May's picture on the below fantasy is Bo Nix, but that's another story. I like some of the things Drake May's doing. I think he's would you say like week 3 Bo Nix right now? Because again, he didn't start like day 1 like Bo Nix did, but I think he's like you see where it's going. The minute this man rushed for 100 yards basically last week. So I'm like, this guy's going to be a fantasy relevant guy based on actually throwing the ball. Throwing the ball, I've been very impressed with him more than Bo Nix, but he also runs. He's like Bo Nix that could throw the ball a little bit better. Seeing as why now you see why he went higher than Bo Nix did. You're like, this is like the upgraded version of Bo Nix. And I'm like, you give him a couple more weeks and he just has even less help than Bo Nix, which is like shout out Bo Nix. You don't have a lot either, but like Drake May really doesn't
Right.
have any. But I think with what he's working with and those rushing yards, he's still going to be very fantasy relevant, and he's only rostered in 10% of leagues. So I see him down here. I'm like, people are cutting him. I'm like, I'm a little intrigued in some Drake May, love here, but yeah, Aaron Rodgers. What? Okay, JT, Tua. Their season's basically over. What do you think of Tua now?
I saw him slide. Did you see those couple
Yeah,
slides?
yeah. Do you
So
think he saves the
obviously,
fantasy season? I mean, real season's over, but like fantasy season, you think he gets back to
totally
Tua form?
redeems himself. God, he's got the weapons to do it. Um, the matchups are kind of a mixed bag. It looks like bye weeks behind him. Like I could see him cooking. I mean, like I would believe they're gonna score. I mean, the 2 games been back, they've scored 27 each game and lost by just a couple points.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I would lean so. I probably would roll the dice with him than a couple other, names in terms of like percent rostered that's kind of near him. Like, would you rather go roll Tua or like Sam Darnold's right next to him, but I don't know.
Well,
Like that'd
I
be a
mean,
tough
for
coin flip.
example, like it's pretty bleak, but I picked up Tua as my alternate to last week. We started having a conversation because he's coming off because I have Mahomes in one of the leagues, and I'm like, this can't keep happening. So I rostered Tua. I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
gotta like have a failsafe here because none of the guys I mentioned in that league are available. And I was like, I gotta have somebody. So I'm definitely like, he's definitely on my radar of like, he's being dropped. He's 42% rostered. And I'm like, I'm still waiting to see because, like you said, those weapons and that coach, his issue's just been health this year. And I'm like, if he is like firing and going, like you saw, he was 25 of 28 for 90% completion and 230 and 2 touchdowns. Now he could just use a little bit more yards, but if all the thing that needs is more, couple more yards, those receivers are going to get him that yards. So
Right.
I am not like that game was crazy efficient for Tua. Like I'm like sign me up against Buffalo's defense in Buffalo. He's going to go to play the Rams, Vegas. New England's going to be rough, but Green Bay, the Jets are not what they used to be. They're going to be They're going to be, we're talking 5 more weeks. What kind of locker room is that going to be in 5 weeks? You know what I mean? Like who knows what's going to be happening there? And then yeah, Houston.
Yeah.
I maybe not for a playoff because that playoff stretch looks kind of rough, but defense wise, but at least getting you there, like I feel like Tua and those weapons are gonna be kind of nice. So I don't know about that. I do agree on the people dropping Caleb Williams. I think he had a kind of a nice little streak there, but I think I like the player more. It's the opposite of Bo Nix. I like the real life player more than the fantasy player, if that makes sense right now as it stands. But
Yeah.
I just think fantasy wise, he's just not going to be there. You drop 9 points against the Cardinals. It's just a mess of an offense still right now. They're still trying to figure it out. So I'm out on Caleb Williams and Anthony Richardson for that matter. Unfortunately,
Yeah, I think I'm there with you in terms of Caleb as well would be a name. Yeah, actually for Yahoo, it's right next to Darnold. Caleb 73, Darnold 72 to a 60. I'd kind of just flip the list on that one. I'd probably trust in the track record and to it back. I mean it's a little bit tougher road in terms of matchups, but like Caleb, I just don't know what to expect. And like we've seen some really good, efficient games, but I just don't know. I don't. Their game script, they still, yeah, they haven't quite figured it out. Are they going to throw 52 times, or are they going to throw 24 times? Like that's it's a big disparity. So I'm not sure. Whereas I feel like I know what to expect out of Miami's offense, and yeah, let's roll with that.
I want to believe it's just going to be back to old Miami offense, and I think it. I mean, they were so efficient. You're right. It was Buffalo. They lost by 3 on the road. I feel like 90% of the time they win that game, and it's a lot better looking. But it's Buffalo. Buffalo's the guy. Buffalo is Rocky. Buffalo manages to get so bloody all the time. It feels like, but they're like Rocky, not Rocky 1 because he loses, but like later on, like Rocky's got to get punched in the face about 50 times. They're like, okay, now we're boxing, and then he's got to win. And so like I
Right.
feel like the Bills, like it's never ugly. You're like, how did they? Okay, 30-27. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, because you look at Miami's stat line, you're like, that was crazy efficient. This is insane, and then you're like, and they lost. You're like, okay, like I don't know how. So yeah, that's just Buffalo. I chalk that one up to Buffalo being just wild cards.
Yeah. And sorry, everybody. Spoiler alert for any of you that haven't seen Rocky yet.
Yeah. Spoiler. I need to rewatch Rocky because I didn't really pay attention. We were drinking some beers in college when I watched those, and I zoned out after a while.
Agreed.
Uh,
Yeah.
I should really sit down and actually focus on Rocky. But let's go. Speaking of Rocky, running backs, toughest position, get beat up all the time. Tyrone Tracy Jr., running back, Washington, New York Giants. Pick him up, 67% rostered. He's a decent pass catcher, so that'll help some of his value. They well, at least they throw it. The issue is just with him is just like this team just cannot run block, and ultimately it's not great. But he's a starting running back on a team who's going to run the ball. Like they're committed that he's going to get like 18 to 20 carries a game. So and probably going to get closer to 22 touches a game. And regardless of like points, I mean, because it's going to be touchdown dependent, he's going to get the touches. And I feel like in today's age, running back, you tell me a guy's going to get you 20 touches, I'm starting him. Because that is hard to guarantee me 20 touches. And he's going to get me 20 boring touches, but he's gonna get them for you. So
Right.
I am all I'm all aboard Tyrone Tracy. He is clearly taken out for Devin Singletary. That's the guy. He's being rostered in 67% of leagues. It needs to be in the 90s. He's their guy. Kareem Hunt, I see 91% rostered. Same situation. Except Kareem Hunt's going to lose his job in 2 weeks, whereas I assume, barring something crazy happening, this is his job to lose. That's my go-to pickup guy.
Okay. Oh man. Do you have ESPN numbers pulled up?
I do.
What is Chase Brown rostered in ESPN?
Chase Brown, 81%.
Okay. Yeah. Say it's a little too high. It's 86 in Yahoo.
I was gonna say I took the one that I'm only like, I guess you could say not even then. Alexander Madison was kind of like somewhat interesting, but not really because he didn't get the goal line work either. I took the only one that I'm like, pick this guy up. Everybody else, I'm like, eh. I'm just kind of like, you know what to talk about anyway, JT. I was just like, oh man, I'm like, I was very excited to talk about him, and then I look, I'm like, I don't really have anybody else I'm really excited about, to be honest.
I mean, like to me, like Chase Brown has not only proven himself for the last few weeks, earning that roster percentage, but then Moss is dealing with like a neck injury that's indeterminate. So, gosh, although they've got Baltimore's defense and then the Chargers and then a bye and then Pittsburgh's defense. So
that's a rough 4-week stretch to pick him up. But you're right. It's all about those touches. He's going to get those 20 plus touches. You're going to start him.
So actually, I'm going to flippity flip and say trade away Chase Brown on the, hey, look what he just did. He had an awesome week. He's going to be RB1, no handcuff. Who wants him? I just lost a wide receiver or something to injury. Here you go. You can have this next 4-week slate.
Like, I was going to say, it's 4 weeks, then it goes Dallas, Tennessee, awful, and then Cleveland, Denver, Pittsburgh. It's a rough end to a year for Chase Brown. It's rough. He got his easy matchups out of the way earlier, unfortunately, but he's gonna get touches. We'll put it that way. He's gonna get the touches. Hey, maybe like he'll surprise some people.
I'm the kid in Simpsons that just like, haha, like pee my pants. Just at the realization of like, oh yeah, that's what's ahead.
That's what's happening. As for drops, we talked about Jordan Mason, San Francisco. Yeah. I assume Christian McCaffrey's come back and Jordan's not going to see the field again. So, sorry. He's almost 90% rostered. That ship has sailed, and Zamir White. I don't, someone who's going to be the starter coming out of this season. I had such hopes. It can't, JT. Do you want to know his stat line the last 2 weeks? Just, you want to know it?
I know this last week he actually had maybe like 8 touches or so. Like
He had 6.
Okay, it was the week before or weeks before, just next to nothing, almost flatline.
He had 7 points. He had a touchdown. He has had 8 rushes for 9 yards last 2 weeks. I think his against the Carolina Panthers, he averaged 3 yards a run. I didn't know that was possible. It's my goodness. It needs to be 0. He's rostered 34% of leagues. It needs to not be any. Like I don't. It's one of those I'm not even mad. It's impressive things. That's someone who's drafted him in 2 leagues. I was like, I don't even know how you're that bad.
We need to look into like identity theft. That's a serious problem in this country. It sounds like we got an imposter on our hands. I don't know what's going on.
Alexander Madison, I'm looking at his numbers, and he got 9 touches versus White's 6. Neither of them have done much. The funniest part is the week before, Alexander Madison got 14 touches and got 15 yards. So it's who can average the 1 yard a game is basically. I'm starting to think that maybe the issue is the people in front of them blocking for them is maybe what the issue might be. But either way, I don't want any part of them. They both need to be 0. Done. Maybe one will fall into an end zone, but I don't even care at this point. I just don't even care. Like, because when the downside is literally 3 yards, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point?
Right.
What's the point? So Zamir White has to be dropped. I'm trying to see here who else is like decently rostered. You're right with Zach Moss, 7% roster. I feel like, speaking of guys fighting to average 1 or 2 yards, it's been him the last 3 weeks. Zach Moss that job's toast. You lost that job.
Yeah.
Devin Singletary, 63% rostered. We're done. Like, it's over. Book him, Danny.
I'm looking at an ad. I think I actually found a second running back I could talk myself into if I had drafted maybe like 0 RB or something, and I'm dealing with one of these random injuries. Like Trey Benson for Arizona got some looks in that kind of runaway victory. Their remaining schedule could have more of those. So depending on how you feel about the 2 games they play against Seattle, they also get in where it gets spicy and dicey is the fantasy playoffs of New England and Carolina, which, it's a long ways away. We don't know health of all of these players, but like, you're really relying on garbage time. So the more I talk about it, the more I'm like talking myself out of it. But that's how tough it is to find a running back to pick up. So be very thoughtful if you're considering dropping one.
Yeah. No, that's true.
The flip side of the coin.
That's true.
What's your take on the Saquon Barkley highlight?
So it's really funny when people would share the picture of him jumping over somebody and be like, this is crazy. And I'm like, it doesn't do it justice because he's facing the wrong way in the picture. Everyone's like, man, look at that. I'm like, if you saw the picture, be like, he's jumping this way. I'm like, the craziest part is he's jumping the other way over the guy. Now, jumping over somebody is never a good thing usually because it never results in extra yards. You're always tackled immediately or hit really big. But it looks really cool. I'll say that. I don't know how much it helped him, but it's like
right.
I think that's the most like dunking on somebody you could ever do in the NFL.
Yeah,
and that's what
happened.
Yeah, he postered that guy. Yeah, but
I think cool. the dad and the coach in me was just like, you already had the first down. You literally just gave up your entire body to jump backwards over a player that I don't think was gonna completely run you over, hit you too hard, but I think by doing so you got sandwiched and almost got your bell rung on the guy coming from the sideline
And Barkley's
back
never been
towards
hurt
you,
or had a history of being hurt or anything. So,
or
yeah,
any running back ever,
yeah,
ever for
yeah,
that matter.
yeah, and yeah,
It's just
was
that
it
it's
needed?
just
Was it
that
needed?
kind of
Absolutely not,
why,
but it looked cool.
right?
It looked cool.
Boom. That's what football's all about. 2024. Make it look cool.
Make it look cool. Gotta sell merch, you know?
Yeah.
Um, that's what it is. But, was it against the Giant? No, who'd they play? Um,
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. I knew it was one of those type teams, but,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, unfortunately. Wide receivers. Pick up Saquon Barkley. Wide receivers. Spoiler alert. I keep going to the Carolina Panthers well, and I don't know why, but like it's based off like the 2 weeks ago that they had. Like they just went nuts like a couple weeks ago. They keep
Yeah.
scoring like one of them scores a touchdown every week. And I'm just like, who's it
Who's
gonna
it
be?
gonna
You know what I
be?
mean? Like I just what help me, JT. This isn't even a podcast question. Help me. Do I just avoid them all? Do I play one? What do I do with the Carolina Panthers? Because I keep like
Um.
dropping them in different leagues and playing them and picking them up and dropping them. I don't know what to do. Should I just?
So so here's the thing. I think I understand where you're coming from. You're seeing Xavier Leggett, athlete, likable guy, has the fun, suit. I don't even know where that accent is from, but just likable. Um, you're in general just wide receivers talking about a team who's gonna, if they're gonna try to keep it close, they pulled out a victory. They're gonna need to throw the ball. There's gonna be a lot of garbage time probably.
Yeah.
Leggett, great athlete. He's the wide receiver one now after the trade. And then you've got Jalen Coker, who's the slot guy, and you got Bryce Young back in the saddle trying to prove himself. Like it's kind of this redemption story of like this kind of like underdog trying to just literally just mix it up and ruin people's seasons. Like we have nothing to play for. I'm going to give you a loss, and I'm trying to give you a loss, and like it's going to try to ruin your season by just just
I mean,
taking a
you're right.
dub from you, like, right, like in some ways maybe that's subconsciously you're buying into it. I don't, I don't, I don't know. I mean, in terms of bye weeks and injuries and stuff, I could see mix it in like a Leggett as a WR3 WR4 flex type of thought, just depending on, you know week to week roster construction. I don't think
I
it's
mean,
crazy. I feel.
we talked about it and how I just need bodies to play wide receiver for me at this point. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of got to be that situation. But yeah, you're right. I gotta. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at one league and it's gonna get.
it's literally the, I just want to call it the Wandale Robinson of fantasy football.
You said
Gets
that, and I'm literally adjusting a roster, putting in Wandell Robinson right now. I can't make that up. I put him into an active flex spot right now because of bye weeks.
Yeah. Where's the targets? Where's the action happening? Well, you know what? I needed someone in my flex spot that has a pulse. Wandale. Like it's
Yeah.
just
He is still fourth in football on targets this year.
right. I mean, we're talking about off-brand. Do you like RC Cola, or do you like Great Value, or do you like it's all off-brand stuff.
Because you
What's the
can
flavor
buy
of the week?
a case for $6. like, or you can buy Coca-Cola for 22. I'll take the
Yeah,
$6.
yeah.
Not RC Cola though. I'm not an RC Cola fan. I'm sorry. Like I just can't do RC Cola. We went to Thailand. They have RC Cola over there. I'm like, this is not for me. Like this isn't my life.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
I can't do RC Cola. Any other cola I could probably do, but I'm just like RC Cola just doesn't taste like cola for me. Maybe it's the Thailand RC Cola. I don't know. Because are they different like Coca Cola?
Probably. But at the same
Maybe.
time, you say RC Cola, and I'm just like the peak, like, it's gotta be cold, right? Cola.
Yeah, yeah.
But to
With
me, RC Cola, even if it's ice cold, it tastes like warm cold. Like, how did
that's
you get
yes,
the
yes.
crappy warm flavor out of any
Yes,
situation of this
that's
cola.
exactly the flavor I got. You nailed it. I couldn't place what it was, but I was like, it doesn't taste good. I'm like, what is it? And it tastes like it's flat and warm. Like it's just like this isn't what I want. I don't want the flat warm stuff. I want the cold. Yeah, like yeah, that's it. Nailed
Yeah.
it.
It
Nailed.
makes me they got to come up with a marketing strategy like Guinness did, cuz I just saw a Facebook reel of Guinness of how they used to pour it, and if you saw how that sausage is made, if you will, you would have never ordered a beer. They're like, first you take a cup and we have this special spout and it just literally spits, like it just spits out foam. We're going to fill up foam in the bottom third of this cup and let it chill for a minute. Like, or not, just hang out off to the side. Then we're going to go over to the special spout where it pours it all elegantly. So now you have this nice head on the top of the beer, and then you butter knife off the top, and then you serve. But I was just like, the initial, we're just gonna hock to a foam into this cup, and then just let it sit there for 30 seconds. You'd be like, nah, and it's warm, right? And you're like, no, I'm good. I don't want that beer anymore. Give me something else. But
Talk
instead they
to
were
it a
like, you know
small.
what? We're gonna make a record book so people can converse over a beer. And then it turned the Guinness World Record book turns into a bigger thing, and then the beer actually turns into a bigger thing because of the book. So RC Cola needs like a catch, you need to come up with something why you would collect or drink or be anywhere near, around, associate with RC Cola.
Just, why would you ever associate with RC Cola? We are not
I
making friends with the RC Cola company for our sponsor. Sorry, so sorry, RC
right.
Cola. We
Oh,
are we are friends of Lad McConkey, 82% rostered, but we're not, so we don't talk about him. But
right.
yeah, I need some Xavier Leggett RC Cola in my life, I guess. So I can't quit you.
How do you feel about Jerry Judy now that Cooper's outie and we got a new quarterback at the helm in Cleveland? In the last two games, been pretty productive.
I like them because I think I think they'll be losing by a lot. So I
Right.
think it'll help. And Jameis Winston, as we know, is not afraid to sling it. So anytime he's gonna get a run pass option, he's gonna be like, yes, chucking it. I mean, Cedric Tillman had a nice day too. 75 yards and a touchdown. I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking here. Uh 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Two of the top 6 most added wide receivers. The other two Cleveland wide receivers. So Elijah Moore and Cedric Tillman. I like Judy, the fact that now that he's the number 1 there. Like Cedric Tillman a lot too, actually, now that he's number 2. He did some work with Jameis Winston. So yeah, I definitely, I mean, the last 3 weeks Cedric Tillman has really put in the work there as a Cleveland wide receiver. So
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in him. 47% roster. But yeah, answer your Judy question. 52% rostered. I feel like, how do I say this? Tillman is the bigger boom or bust. Judy's going to get you your 6 targets, 6, 7 targets, 7 catches, 70 yards. I feel like that's going to be what he's going to do every time. Now, he might get a touchdown occasionally, but I feel like he's going to get you your 9 points. Tillman could get you your 14, but Tillman could also
Mm-hmm.
get you your, what you did a couple weeks ago, negative. So, but Tillman's been running hot right now. So, but I like both of them. I think both are viable fantasy options moving forward. For those people who roster Chris Olave, both work.
Right.
Let's see here. I'm trying to see who else. Gosh, Tank Dell have a day. Should have really drafted that guy. Talked about it for 2 months. I would say Xavier Worthy, but he got hurt and it didn't look quite right coming back. So ignore that.
Oh,
Glad we didn't record this Sunday night. That
right.
would have aged real bad. Keon Coleman, 70% rostered. That Buffalo offense is. We talked about it, it's Buffalo, it's Rocky. They scored 30 points, and where did the points go? Who scored the points? Like one of them was on like a 7-yard like screen to a backup running back. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I just I just don't know. I don't know what to make of. I like Coleman and I like what he brings to the team. It's just like, are they going to use it enough? You know what I mean? Like, I thought they'd use it more with Cooper there, but
Yeah,
hasn't
and
really.
Cooper's
Had
missed,
two
what,
nice games.
2 of yeah, 2 of the 3 games already? Like, so still don't
Yeah.
know what that's gonna
Yeah.
shake out to be. I think I put my money on Shakir,
Okay.
even if Cooper's
Yeah.
fully healthy. I don't know, it'd be interesting, and it's a good
He's
problem
getting more
for them to
targets.
have in real life, but
Yeah.
yeah, I just
You're right. I'm just looking at it. He has more targets. Shakir does. I mean, it's not crazy different, but you're right. I mean, it's like 3 a game, which, I mean, that's nice. 3 a game, 3 more targets.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's probably Shakir, 62% rostered. He should be rostered more than Keon Coleman. I mean, 68 to 70. We're splitting hairs here, but I feel like they should be flipped.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and not to bury the lead, but JSN, shout out, wide receiver of the week, top fantasy point earner.
And
Um,
80 of
Way
those
to
yards
be.
being called back on holding them
Oh,
too.
right?
Like, that man could have gone off for like 2 something and like every time, like, he turns around on the second one and he knows it's coming and he just, the look on his face is just like, what do I got to do?
The
Like,
sec Was it the second one where I thought it was taunting because the camera was
oh
super
yeah, yeah,
zoomed in, and I'm like,
yeah,
"Oh, there's a flag," and it was the way he was trying to seek out one player to go
yeah.
because there's like 3 around him. He's like, "Not you, not you, not you," and then he finds like a line. I don't know who it was,
And
and then he's like, "Yeah, that's what I told you." And I was like, "Oh, you're just taunting," and it was like, "No, it was holding." I was like, "Gosh, dang it!"
the what gave it away, or what didn't give it away, but like led to that, what you were thinking was, he looks after the guy. You see the marker at the bottom of the screen say flag, and his look
Mm,
on his face was like, "What did I do?" Or "Oh my gosh!" But he was remarking
mm-hmm.
about the line, not himself. So it
Right.
led into that he did it right after the targeting thing, because he's targeting him. Then the flag thing pops up, thinking, "Oh, it threw it on the him." No, it was
Mm-hmm.
just, yeah, it was just a rough day for him. But JSN, like, don't get me started on the Seahawks. That's just receivers are good. Their receivers good. Keep them. We talked about my wife trying to drop Tyler Lockett multiple times and he scores touchdowns. So
Goodness.
I see Wandale Robinson being dropped in 63% rostered. I think 63% is perfect. He's still, we talk about how many targets he's getting there. It is dropping a little bit. Slayton is looking a little bit better, but he's still getting his, like, last 3 weeks. He's getting what, 7-ish targets a game. Could be a little better. I mean, Daniel Jones, these targets are air quote targets, but I still find with Wandale Robinson, as stated. I'm now playing him in my flex at this moment. Yeah, I keep seeing up here, um, Green Bay Packers being dropped. I don't know why we keep having this conversation week in and week out with Green Bay Packers guys. Uh, Dobbs is the only one I would roster anymore. I think he's the only one that's warranted a I'm the starter type situation. I mean, if Jaron Reed wants to keep averaging over 24 yards a catch, then sure, you probably roster that guy. But even though he did that a couple weeks ago, he still only got 6 points. So I just I think Dobbs is the only guy on that team. They're going to spread it out too much, other than him. I mean,
Yeah.
we talk about that guy every week. De-
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson, 0 targets against Denver. Did he play? Did you have a snap count up? I should look at the snap count. I'll look it up.
No,
Yeah, I'll find the snap counts. Anybody else you're looking at
I'm
dropping or
trying to
picking up?
figure out I'm curious. It's kind of like this Buffalo situation where I'm looking at San Francisco's wideouts and Debo should be coming back healthy. So then my question is Juwan Jennings worth rostering or Pearsall? Because I don't know if it's both, but both are fairly available. 51% roster for Jennings and 28% for Pearsall. And I'm just like, one of them's got to have some type of value. I just still haven't seen it yet. Just like the Buffalo wide receivers, I just don't know. I don't really have a sense of it. And the way that Debo gets used is way different than, other wide receivers. He gets some of those like speed sweep handoffs every once in a while too. So it's just like he's going to be a big focal point when he's healthy. I'd just be curious, see what the snap count is this next week if they're all on the field at one time.
There's an error in the snap count thing that I go to that has a couple of the same games repeated, so I don't know if it
Okay.
has. Oh wait, that is. I found it. Let me see here. Oh god, it's too small. That's what she said. Nice, gotcha. 30% snap count. Okay, so I think that'll go up when another week goes in there. Still though, 88% roster. Stay the same. That'll be fine. Yeah, I think JT, when it comes to the 49ers, I think this team is going to look very different coming out of the bye week. So it's hard. Jennings is probably the safe bet, but they drafted Pearsall in the first round for a reason, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just that, like, with McCaffrey coming back, how healthy is he going to be? A week off, get healthy. What is that team going to really be? So I would, man, like that says Jennings, but like Pearsall's the guy who, if you miss, you're really going to miss and you're going to kick yourself. You know what I mean? Like, first round pick. He's finally, after his incident in the offseason, a bye week, get the full team there. I mean, that guy is the making of being the next, guy in that offense to go off. I guess it depends on your need. Do you need a guy to cover a bye week? Then Jennings is probably your safe bet. Do you need a guy who maybe you want to keep in the future? You need some help at wide receiver? Go Pearsall. I guess that's my stance on that. It's the 49ers offense, man. Like, they're plug and play because as long as they got Kyle Shanahan. So whichever you think, boom or bust, floor or ceiling, whatever you need to play as. And that's going to be, there's a wide receiver for whatever you need. And I would treat it accordingly. That's how I do that. Tight ends. JT, tip of the cap, sir, to your Cade Otton call last week, or a couple weeks ago.
Thank you. Thank
3
you.
tutties since then.
Mm-hmm.
Because you called it after his one 14-point game, and he has followed up with a 25er and an 18. So yeah, Cade Otton. I don't. What's his percentage? 78. I mean, he's a clear 80 at this point.
Yeah, to me, until Mike Evans comes back, he's securely a tight end one. That offense really, they passed the football. Baker's playing super well this year. Otton, he was fantasy relevant when Tom Brady was there. I mean, like, he's a good tight end. It's just like if he gets used or not. And
yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, I feel like whenever he gets targets, he puts up numbers, and you're like, I mean, I get that in a general sense that that's the case, but like he's pretty efficient with it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't feed him the rock.
Yeah. So I'd lean on him until Evans comes back and then maybe reassess, but he still should be involved even at that point.
Yeah.
Just maybe not to this extent of what are we looking at? 25 targets over the last 3 weeks? Not sure about that, but
yeah. Maybe.
But yeah, 25 targets over 3 weeks. That's a tight end one. Just period. I don't even care.
That's actually, I think that is referencing the week before. If you include today's game, it is 31 over last
is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's 10, 10, and 11 now.
Whoa. Yeah. Oh, maybe I was counting catches. I just pulled up my phone real quick.
Oh.
Usually I'm using my computer.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what you're doing. Because
you're right.
I mean, it's 25 the previous 3 weeks in targets actually too. So, but the other week. So if you go the other way, so it's technically 26. But yeah, it's Cade Otton. I'm tired of seeing Taysom Hill on this list. I don't even know what to do with you, man. Stop smiling at me. I don't get it. I saw a stat they owe him like $19 million next year. What?
Whoa.
Okay, sorry. I don't know. I mean, because they just signed. I don't know. Don't get me started on Taysom Hill experiment. If you're gonna sign him, use him. I don't get it. Like,
Yeah, I
Do
don't know.
something with him. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like,
It's literally the meme of the stick figure with the stick poking, do something.
like,
Like, that's a lot of money to pay your backup quarterback slash backup tight end.
like
Like, I don't.
you kind of have to like because he's not like a wide receiver. He's a tight end and he's a running back. But then you're gonna have to manufacture. You have to start manufacturing touches for him. You're gonna spend him that much money. So I'm naturally interested. I'm like, he's a tight end. They're gonna manufacture touches for him. And then I'm like, he's got 6, and I'm like, 6 for that much? I feel like he's a running back. Getting running back touches is not that hard because you just turn and hand him the ball. Like, it's not like wide receiver where I have to force you targets by throwing it to you. I just hand you the football. How are you struggling to get touches for this guy? So I don't know. And then now that they just fired their coach, how much are they going to use him now? What's the new coach going to do with him? It needs to be
Yeah.
0. I don't know. I'm over the ride. I don't know. I'm over the ride. TJ Hawkinson, coming back, eased in a little bit, but that dude has all the talent in the world. 74%
Hmm.
rostered. It's too low. He's 80 plus. He's too good for that. Anybody else you see, JT? I don't see anybody here. It's tight ends. I don't see anybody.
I don't know. Yeah, to me, it's like there's such a definitive cliff for the
Yeah,
tight end. So unless you're dealing with an injury or bye week, like it is what it is.
yeah. There's like
So
and unfortunately, the cliff is like after like 7 guys. So 5 of us are waiting in the pool of whatever. I feel like. Uh,
yeah,
maybe it's like 10. Maybe I'll give him 10. There's like 10 guys. I feel like, or 10
yeah,
guys that I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm not punting the idea of tight end at this point.
right. Or I'm not like switching out my tight end on a weekly matchup
Yeah,
basis. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I don't get. We've talked about we don't get the Pitts thing, and then who'd you just mention again? It's Taysom Hill, yeah, but he's so
yeah,
low rostered. I
yeah,
don't know what's going on
yeah,
there. Dalton Schultz isn't involved with the offense enough. I just over this last week, I was like, you know what? I'm out on Jake Ferguson, and then he goes 7 catches, 71 yards, which is a good week for a tight end. But
yeah,
now they got some tough defenses, and Dak is injured, so
yeah.
I don't know what to make of
You,
what
you
Cooper's going to do
you're like,
with the
and
tight end.
have you pull me back in, and I'm out. Like,
But maybe I'm in with a backup quarterback,
yeah,
safety blanket. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. So then I'm out because I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Uh,
like
Sam Laporta,
so
you're like 90 dude's a beast, and they just. I don't even. I think they just, as weird as it is, they don't need him. They just don't need him at this point.
no. Yeah.
And it's not even that he didn't get worse. They're just like, look, we're just such an efficient offense right now. We don't need to scheme up something for Sam Laporta. I tend to believe because this team is so intelligent, so well thought out. Ben Johnson, I think second half in playoffs, Sam Laporta is going to go off because teams are going to be like, okay, we're catching up. And what good offenses do is like the defenses will catch up to what you're doing, and that's when you throw your next wrinkle in. And he has a weapon like Sam Laporta just sitting there, not using him. And
Right.
the last 4 weeks, it's been like first 5 weeks, like nothing. Like we're talking like 5 points a game, maybe. And the 2 of the last 3 weeks, double digits, 12 plus points. We're creeping in
Right.
there, getting touchdowns. We're like, okay, here we go. I think we're gonna start seeing some yards here, like week 13 ish. I think Sam Laporta might be your guy where they're like, okay, let's mix it up. They're gonna start doing this to Amon Ra. They're gonna start doing this to Jameer Gibbs out of the backfield. Sam Laporta. And he's just gonna be wide open. I feel like that's gonna happen at the end of the season. So, or else I don't even have. I can say this with all confidence because I have or rostered 0 stock of Sam Laporta, so it's no skin off my back
Right.
if this is wrong. Because I invested in him last year, got all the hype, and I invested in Brock Bowers this year, and I'm loving it. So Sam Laporta I think will go bonkers at the end of the year, but yeah, so
And the
some
matchups kind of are pretty cakewalky, so
yeah,
it
some people I
might,
get are
at least for
frustrated
tight ends. So
for being so rostered so high and everything, but I think patience is key in this situation, because I'd be one thing if he was putting out these numbers and this offense was just puttering, but they're moving so fast. It lends me to believe that it will turn around when they adjust. And again, like, it was puttering so fast because that 52-14 game, they didn't use him because they scored they had 80 yards passing the entire game. So it's just yeah, it'll be fine. He'll be good. He'll be good.
Yeah.
No big deal there.
Dang. How about vintage Travis Kelce? 16 targets tonight?
I mean,
Dang. I mean, lost
it
the
was
fumble. That was a bummer. But
him and Hopkins had good games because Worthy got hurt right off the rip, and they're already so depleted. Nicole Harmon got hurt too. No, Nicole Harmon got hurt, and Worthy had did something to him and came out. So it was just two dudes basically running around out there and a bunch of tight ends. It's a bunch of backup tight ends. So yeah, Kelce showed up when they needed him to. Defenses. All right, JT. Help me pick a defense next week. What do we
week
got?
10? Let's pull it up here. So, right off the bat, week 10 defenses. Gosh, there's really not a whole lot that are going to be on a bye. I mean, Green Bay, Cleveland. Yeah, probably not too many that you're going to have to worry about. But just in case you end up with one of those, I could see it like a Green Bay or Cleveland. Or, yeah, definitely Green Bay. And Chicago's defense against New England seems kind of juicy.
That does.
I mean, LAC versus Tennessee, 64% rostered Chargers against the Tennessee
Absolutely.
offense.
Smash that all day and twice on Sundays. They play
Whew.
on Sunday, right?
Right.
They're
Sometimes twice.
Sometimes twice. Let's see. Man, nope, not that. I'm looking at good defenses. I'm like, oh, nope.
Yeah, I mean, the Atlanta defense gets New Orleans. There's some really spicy match. You want to go super bold, or if you're in a 2 defense league. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
One
The
Psychos. Love
giant
it.
the Giants play Carolina, but is that where's that being played? Is it England or is it
It's in
somewhere else?
Oh, that's a war crime, I think, if we send that over for that game in England. I believe it's
is it
it
England or
breaks
is
the
it
Geneva.
Germany or
I believe
something?
it breaks the Geneva Convention if we send that game over, though. Right?
It's in Germany, isn't it? Munich?
Man, I believe they're entitled to restitutions for being forced to take that game in. Giants and Panthers. Oh God, I'm so sorry. So the teams say again. Oh, Chargers smashed that one.
Oh, yeah,
Who else
against
did you
the
give?
Titans.
Sorry, I missed it. And then
The Bears against the Patriots seems
those
pretty
two,
decent.
those two for sure hit that up, and I hit Wards in Germany for Panthers Giants for just alcohol poisoning, just from watching that. Those are the 3 things you need to hit up afterwards, because I'm so sorry, Germany. Right after Oktoberfest too, you're just like, here's this dumpster fire.
I guess in terms of defense, I kind of forget about it. Maybe you have a defense that you're going to just fully willing to drop because of a tough matchup.
Yeah.
Sometimes, even
I
though they're
usually just
higher
drop
percentage,
defenses. Yeah.
higher percent roster doesn't always equate to you're going to keep them all season. I mean, I think I usually do, unless it's just completely a 2 or 3 week, just,
I mean, yeah, I rostered Tennessee's defense this last week. It's who. There's very few LOB defenses anymore. You know what I mean? Defenses are just going to constantly take the ball, or they're going to take the ball. One is the Minnesota Vikings, probably at this point. If you got them, it's probably fine. Pittsburgh's probably the other one. You're those two. But again, Pittsburgh, don't they pit the Ravens twice? Yeah, they play the Ravens twice. They play Washington, who they got an offense. They play Cincinnati twice. They play Philly. They play Kansas City. That they're honestly, do you want to play that? The easy matchup, they play Cleveland twice, and that's literally it for the next 10 weeks.
Yeah.
The next
That
easiest offense based on efficiency then is Kansas City. Everybody else is higher than that.
goodness.
That's rough. I saw a stat, JT, that said since the modern EPA and everything like that, since 2011, 2011, Lamar Jackson's having the third best quarterback year since then. He's that crazy at like just efficiency and EPA per play, and they have to
Wow.
play him twice. He's won 2 MVPs, and this is his best year so far. So I'm just saying,
Jeez.
Pittsburgh, like, it's great they got all these wins and all these other things, but I don't know if the defense is going to be this defense here coming very soon.
No, it's their
Like,
schedule is a tale of two halves,
it is because Cincinnati, when they figure out like, is the classic like, look at the name on the back of your jersey, like, oh, I'm Joe Burrow, oh, I'm Jamar Chase, like, we're going to put up points. It's one of those where it's like, okay, we've got this, and if they just figure that out, they're gonna put up 28. It's just, you know what I mean? Can in the past it's always been, can that defense do something? So I feel like we're starting to see I think we're starting to see offensively the Cincinnati Bengals get healthy and turn it around. And so I unfortunately the Pittsburgh's playing them twice at the wrong time. So yeah, but like Minnesota, I still roll with Pittsburgh until it happens. Yeah, those are really it though, I think. Even San Francisco, they're not what they used to be on defense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like fantasy-wise, they're just not that guy. So, I mean, and as much as I like, Denver, but they got to play Kansas City. They got to play the Chargers, who I still like. You know what I mean? Like we talked about Herbert. They play Cincinnati. They play Atlanta, who can sling it a little bit too. So I'm just like, no, yeah. There's 2 defenses that you keep, and then everybody else I'm kind of like, I play the matchups at this point. I'm not a one defense kind of guy. Sorry.
Man, I'd be willing to sit, just bench Green Bay's defense. They have a pretty decent rest of the way after this bye week, with Detroit only as like the one kind of glaring. I mean, we'll see how healthy San Francisco
Seattle's
is.
offense could explode at any moment, but yeah, that offensive line might hold them back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, San Francisco, they get healthy, get Christian McCaffrey back, get like some of this offense figured out a little bit. They're still kind of scary, but yeah, you're right. Well, and then Miami's healthy too. But yeah, you're right. Chicago, Minnesota, Saints, Chicago twice. And well, the point that you make, the Green Bay, the fantasy playoffs are the Saints, Minnesota, Chicago. Those aren't the scariest offenses in the world.
Right.
Carr, Darnold, and Caleb Williams, as of right now, it looks pretty juicy. So you're probably right about that.
By then it could be Rattler, whoever QB they trade for in Minnesota, and whatever the backup to Caleb is.
I literally have no
Because
idea.
he's probably like, hey, I'm gonna just sit out the rest of this season and just save myself for next year.
Probably not a bad idea for the Bears too. To be honest, not even a knock on Caleb. It's just like, look, you got your Tyson Badgett. Where is he at? A second year. Where did he go to school, JT?
What's his name?
Tyson Badgett.
Badgett? That's Penn State.
Shepherd College. They gotta play Caleb Williams all the way through the season.
I feel like you just made up a player in Madden.
Austin Reed, rookie. Where did he play college ball?
West Virginia.
Western Kentucky. So yeah, they're playing Caleb Williams. Those are the 3 quarterbacks on the roster, JT. Yeah, let's call it what it is. Now we understand the Bears who they are right now a little bit better. So
yeah. Cool. All right, Dad Bod.
Okay, I got one. As a connoisseur of Dad Bods, have we ever given it to Patrick Mahomes?
No.
The famous picture shot came up from last year in the playoffs where he's got his dad bod, but I'm not giving it to him because of that picture. I'm giving it to him because they always show him walking around, and that dude is a lumpy butt. Sorry, just so you know, it's not a toit butt, like a Dumb and Dumber. He must work out. Definitely not. And then he hurt himself running to the sideline to do a flip, and I'm like, that is like the most dad thing ever. Didn't juke anybody, non-contact, nothing. He's like, flip. He's like, I landed wrong. Oh my god. Like, and they had to get carried off, and then they brought him to the tent. Check out his leg, and he's running. He's like, I'm good, and I'm like, total dad moment. Like having it during Monday night. He's just like planted wrong. Oh gosh, like he went down. Like dad in the backyard throwing a ball to a kid and like lands wrong. He's like, tore my Achilles. I'm out. Like, shoot me. Just take me out back. Like, I saw that and I was like, it's a dad moment. And then he's like walking. Then so I was like, here's his lumpy butt again. but then he's like, I'm just going to go, throw we're going to win again. Whatever. Like, it's just like.
Hey, son, check out this flip. It's what got me your mom a third date with your mom.
Yeah. Another thing where dad, he has a girl and a boy. And before last game, he was like, I want to thank, or not thank, but like shout out to my wife and child, but forgot son as well. Cause they just had their son. Mm-hmm. And so he made a very like poignant to name his son a bunch of times in the pregame thing of like, oh, shout out. Like, it was like, so definitely dad moment today. Forget one of your kids' names. Cause JT, as you get it with two boys, how many times does my youngest look at me like, what happened when I'm like, dang it, Owen, and I'm talking to Nolan.
Yeah.
Like, dang it, so and so, and they're like, what? And I'm like, you know which one he's doing something, okay? I'm just telling one of you to stop, and I'm talking to the wrong one. And I feel the worst when it's to the little one because he's like,
the little one.
Or he's looking, and I'm like, you don't get it. This one does. Like, yeah, this one understands.
One of you knows better, and one of you should know that you're doing something
total dad moment, wrong. Forgetting kids' names, forgetting something like, and then hurting yourself on a totally routine play. Routine play. So I shout out Patrick Mahomes. You're doing all dad bods justice.
That's a good one. He's it's a soft outer shell underneath that cannon missile of an arm.
Just you got to protect this. Everything else is fluffy. Just get a little fluffy. And honestly, it does probably help absorb some of the hits. Get a little fluffy. Protect this though. The money maker is what they call it. We're pointing to our shoulders. I realize me and you are pointing to our shoulders, and no one can understand hearing that. We're pointing to the right shoulder.
This being the cannon of the shoulder arm region. Yeah.
Yes, a laser. Peyton Manning classic commercial. Laser rocket arm. No big deal.
Yeah, because Head and Shoulders already is covering his sweet hairdo, so he's got that covered.
There you go.
All right, cool. Well, that's it. Tweet at us at Fantasy Dad Pods. If you got any Week 10 questions, sit, start, add, drop, trade advice, trade deadlines coming up. Make sure you know your league settings. But yeah, good luck with Week 10. We'll be back next week. So thank you for joining us. We appreciate you listening. Take care, be well, and until next time, see ya.
See ya.